So we asked our partners, we asked some of our merchants that we worked with before on some of the things that they kept in mind during their migration. And I think we got some fairly solid advice here. Um, Migrate only what is absolutely needed. Time and time again, we see that projects will start with the idea that they want to migrate everything that is in the old system, anything from products to orders to customers, even customers and orders from 10 years back. Um, and often we find that is not really necessary. It might be okay to just migrate the current customers, the customers that are still active, or orders of the last 6 months, orders that are eligible for returns, for example. And again, also with the catalog, there might be a lot of collections from previous years that aren't even being sold anymore. So it's good to be picky when migrating your data. Migrate data early and often. We generally recommend to set up Shopware 6, and the first thing to do is to make sure that you move the data from your old platform into the new Shopware 6 platform. And like I said, our data migration tool supports Delta migration, which means that you can do a first initial migration and then keep updating it throughout the development process. This will help with shaping the new shop in a better way. It also will mean that it's battle tested once you actually go live. So you already have your data in there. You're sure that you covered all the edge cases that prevent you from having some nasty surprises. The data migration tool and CSV import tool are great for flat data, and data migration can handle a bit more complex data, but in general, we recommend that for very complex data, it's better to create an API integration and leverage those APIs simply because there are more safety measures, it's more structured and it's easier to work with, it's a bit more fault tolerant. Yeah, so that's highly recommended. And then some common challenges that we're seeing in many projects is the first one is, for example, incomplete and inconsistent data. And this goes back to what I said about migrating data that might be 10, 15 years old. We'll find that, for example, the database structure changed throughout this time. Right? So we might be missing some fields, or we might be missing some data. When migrating that means that our new shop is already starting with an issue in the data. That's generally something that we might want to fix in an in-between layer to make sure that the data consistency is correct. Then changes in features and approach and architecture between the platforms. We have to keep in mind that migrating from your old platform to a new Shopware 6 platform, the architecture is simply different, and we might be trying to address different business challenges, right? We might be we might have changed features since our processes have changed, or since there are new opportunities to benefit from. So it makes sense to really think about the data that you're migrating and to see if it still makes sense to migrate that in that form. And then the last one is multiple sources of truth. So one thing that can be a challenge is, for example, to migrate all your customers from your old store to your new store, but then also having an ERP system where we might migrate some customer data from. At that point, we get multiple sources of truth. There should always be one in the lead. So really think of the source that you want to use for your data. Different entities, different approaches. Some data is very flat. It's easy to import through the CSV, and others we might want to do through the API layer. And actually what we've seen is that for catalog data, so for categories, products, properties, and property values, it makes a lot more sense to actually use a PIM for that. So what we'll do there is connect the product information management system first to the old system, pull out the whole catalog, clean that up, make sure that the data is refined, that the data is complete, and then push that into Shopware 6. And in general, I would highly recommend to have that product information management system there, simply because it makes the management of products so much easier. Then customers, newsletter, subscription, promotion codes. That's a lot easier to do through the data migration tool or even the CSV import tool. Since it's fairly flat data and should be easy to import, do keep in mind that the data has to be consistent and has to be complete, right? So we need an address, we need the voucher code for the promotion and so on. And the order history only if absolutely needed. In general, it doesn't make sense to import years and years of order history if no one is using it. So first check if people are actually looking at their old orders, and if so, what for? Are they doing it just to see which products they ordered? Maybe we can find another way to give them that information. Or are they using it, for example, for returns? Might be that your customer service is only using the order history, and in that case, might even make sense to either pull it into an ERP system or leave it into the old system and have that available for a while for your customer service. Those are some of the recommendations that I want to give you on your next migration project. If you have any questions about migrations, about the tools that we're using, about the approach, feel free to reach out. We're happy to talk to you, and good luck with your migration.